Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing today? Well, it's late. I should have said this evening because it is right about 7 o'clock. It's like 7 o'clock right now. And I just got done filming 3 videos back to back. I filmed a drama video, and I filmed a Peterisms video, and I filmed a review video. So those are all uploading inside right now. And we are getting ready to have a storm, a late summer storm. Here, I'm going to show you guys the sky. It's like really dark. I don't know if you can see that, but clouds in the distance coming. So good nap weather, which as soon as I am done vlogging, I am going to lay down for a little bit. And then, let me pull you guys in closer. Hold on a second. And then I think we're going to watch a movie tonight. I don't know what movie we're going to watch, but we went to the grocery store after brunch today and got a bunch of snacks. And I also got potato salad for tomorrow because we're going to a cookout at Caroline's house. So, yeah, so let's see. What did we do last night? Last night we watched like 3 American Horror Stories back to back. Well, I laid down for a little bit, and then we watched like 3 American Horror Stories back to back. From the second season, I don't know if you've watched it or not yet, but I actually haven't read the comments on yesterday's video, which I have to tell you what happened. I was sitting out here and I was watching Black Summer, and it was like after 3 o'clock in the morning. It was like 3:30 or 3:40 or something. And I was like looking at my videos that I had posted. And I was like, I never posted my vlog. I had been waiting and waiting and waiting for it to be ready to be posted. And so when we were watching American Horror Stories, I just kind of forgot about it. And so then it was like 3:40 in the morning, and that's why I posted it so late last night. But anyway, I haven't read any of the comments, and I'm actually uploading a video on my phone right now, so I can't look, but I haven't read any of the comments to see what people say about me talking about TV shows. So I will read those, and then I will talk about that later. But if you've watched the second season of American Horror Stories, we have one more episode to watch, the most recent episode. And I haven't watched the first one, which is about dolls. Alex watched it and he liked it. They're all different. Like each one is a completely different story. I thought the scariest one was called Aura, which is like about those like camera things, doorbells. I thought that one was scary. I thought the Bloody Mary one was interesting just because I grew up with the whole urban legend of like Bloody Mary and all that kind of stuff. But other than that, like I really haven't like thought they were super scary. The one called Milkmaids was gross. There's a lot of violence in some of these. So anyway, but yeah, we watched those last night. That was fun. So we watched like 3 of those, and then Alex was like, I said, do you want to watch the most recent one? And he was like, because we were watching them like back to back, and he was like, no, I'm tired, so I'm going to go to bed. And I said, okay, well, I'm going to watch one episode of Black Summer, and I ended up finishing the first season of Black Summer. I love that show. I think it's really, 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 really a well done zombie show. He's in the kitchen. I don't know what he's doing. He's standing. I can see him standing right there. He's eating cereal, I think, right now. He got like Fruit Loops at the grocery store today. He loves to just eat Fruit Loops as snacks. But anyway, if you're looking for a good zombie show, Black Summer is really well done on Netflix. And I finished the first season. Oh my God, the last episode was a lot. And then I started watching, I think I made it through like halfway through the first episode of the second season. I just kind of wanted to see how it started. Which, like, again, they don't really explain a lot of like what's going on. Like, you just kind of have to assume by like different situations, like kind of things that have happened. You just have to kind of assume. So I don't know. But I'm only halfway through the first episode, and there's like a lot of new characters, and so oh, thunder in the distance. The thunder rolls. So I'm just trying to kind of like figure out what's going on right now, and I think there's 8 episodes, so I'll probably finish that in a couple days. I did notice though that like with the first season, every episode was kind of like a different amount of time. Like some would be 30, some would be 20. Like one was 22 minutes long, which I thought was short. The first episode of the second season is longer. It's like 45. Oh, he must have gone upstairs because the light just went off. It's like 45 minutes long or something like that. So, yeah. But I really like that show. And Caroline texted me today that she is currently watching 5 Days at Memorial. So, yeah, I watched that last night, Black Summer, and then tonight we're supposed to watch a movie, but I also want to watch the live footage, which is actually going on right now, of Miss Continental Plus in Chicago. So I'm going to watch some of that tonight as well on Instagram. Maybe I think they post some of it on Instagram Live, hopefully, like they have been the last 2 nights with Miss Continental and Miss Continental Elite and Mr. Continental. And I don't know what movie we're going to watch yet. I have no idea. Alex was like, do you want to watch Buzz Lightyear? And I was like, no, not whatsoever. So I don't know. I said, I want to watch something scary. I love to watch scary movies. So I don't know what we're going to watch. And then I told him he's been laying down since we got home, and I've been filming. And I went upstairs right before I came down to vlog. And I said, I'm like getting really tired. Like I'm going to have to lay down for a little bit. I said, I hope I make it to a movie. And he goes, well, we don't have to watch a movie tonight. So anyway, got up today. We went to brunch. Had the same thing as we had yesterday, except that they had a blueberry crumble coffee today, which is like my favorite coffee that they have there. And I have some of it right here. So cheers to the blueberry crumble. I think this is my neighbor next door. She went to this art fest installation last night here in town called Butter. And I was sitting out here. Nope, not her. I was sitting out here last night when she came home and I was watching TV. And she texted me and she said, can I come over for a second? And I said, yeah. And so she came over and she sat out here and she was telling me all about the art installation. I love my neighbor so much. Can I just tell you? This is my neighbor Laura, who's been in some of my videos. She's really sweet. But anyway, so she was telling me all about the art installation and how cool it was. And it was at this place called the Stutz Building in Indianapolis. And so anyway, and I was asking her, because she loves like Game of Thrones and stuff, and I was asking her if she is watching that new show, Dragon, whatever it is that Alex is watching, and she said no, because she's reading the book. She wants to read the book first before she watches the show. And she said that the book is very like, comes across as like a text manual, because it's like kind of like the history of all of it or something. I don't know. But anyway, I think it's George Martin is his name. I don't read his books, so I don't know. Whoever that person was that I thought was my neighbor, she just went the other way. And now she's leaving the neighborhood, so. Yeah. So we went to brunch today. Had a great time at brunch. I got cinnamon toast. I've been getting cinnamon toast instead of bagels. And so I got so full so quick that I woke up like really early this morning. Like not awake, but I just like woke up and couldn't fall back asleep. So I came downstairs and I ate 2 of those Little Debbie unicorn bars that I reviewed on my review channel, and then I went back to bed. It just started raining. I hope it doesn't start pouring, because if it does, I'm gonna have to stop vlogging, and then this will be like the world's shortest vlog. I think I one time said something about this being like the world's shortest vlog, and it was like 12 minutes. So as long as I make it past 12 minutes, it won't be the world's shortest vlog. As long as the rain doesn't come up here, I don't mind it. It's a nice, soft summer rain. Do you hear it? I used one of my honey spoons yesterday that I got from Amazon. They came yesterday, my honey spoons and my honey sticks. So I made some tea. Well, actually, that was while we were watching that Bloody Mary on American Horror Stories. And I used one of my honey spoons, which is really just like a wooden stick with like honey on the end of it that looks like a spoon. That was fun. And what else? I love a soft rain like this. I love a thunderstorm too, but not when I'm vlogging, because then I'll have to go inside. So afterwards, I had a bunch of errands I needed to run. I went to the post office, and then Alex took me to the grocery store. I had to get potato salad for tomorrow because I told Caroline I would bring potato salad, and obviously I don't cook. And my favorite potato salad in the entire world is from the Meyer. And they have this, I don't know if I've tried any of their other potato salads. I think I've tried like their American potato salad like a long time ago. But their Redskin potato salad is so good. It is like hands down like the best potato salad I have ever had. And my mom back in the day, she used to make homemade potato salad. And I don't like eggs in my potato salad, and so she never put eggs in there, but she would put like finely chopped celery, and she put all kinds of stuff in her potato salad, and she would have like big chunks of potato, and some of them would be harder than others. I loved my mom's potato salad. It was so delicious. And it's so funny, like, I never really liked fish, but I would eat tuna fish salad sandwiches. There's something for me that was different about that, I don't know. But my mom in the summer, she would make tuna fish salad sandwiches, and like sometimes she would make, I can see it in my head, this metal bowl that she had, that she would make this homemade potato salad in, or she would make the tuna salad in, and we would have it on like toasted whole wheat with tomato soup sometimes. Oh my god, it was so good. I've been thinking about my mom the last couple days, like thinking about watching movies. I don't know if we'll do this tonight because I'm kind of not really in the mood to watch one of these movies tonight, but I was thinking about this as far as like I'd like to have a night where Alex and I watch old scary movies, like maybe like an Alfred Hitchcock movie, or like Sorry Wrong Number with Barbara Stanwyck, or Arsenic and Old Lace. And I bought those movies and I have them in my iTunes library, so I thought we could watch those because he's never seen those. And also, he's never seen Death Becomes Her. We were watching, so one of the American Horror Stories last night really reminded me of Death Becomes Her. If you've watched them, you'll know what I'm talking about. And I was like, this is like, kind of reminds me of Death Becomes Her. And then he didn't say anything. I said, have you ever seen that? And he was like, no. And I was like, you've never seen Death Becomes Her? And he was like, no. I was like, okay, we need to see that movie. So, that would be a fun movie to watch. Maybe even tonight, that would be a fun movie. But, the smell of rain and the smell of the earth smells so good. But I have this one memory of my mom, and I think it was the first time that I ever watched Rear Window. We must have rented it, like with VCR tape or something, but we sat in the TV room, and it was like, I remember it kind of being like hot outside, and we had the windows open, and there was like air, and we had a fan going, and it was all dark, and then we had our pajamas on, and like halfway through the movie, like, if you watch the movie, like Thelma Ritter, who is like plays his nurse, she's a character actress. She was in like Miracle on 34th Street and some other movies, but she plays his nurse, and so she makes him these sandwiches, and then like at night he's watching all of this stuff go on behind his apartment. So Rear Window is a movie where he sits and watches out his back rear window. It's Jimmy Stewart, and he sees all this stuff going on with all the apartment buildings behind him. I think it's New York City. It is New York City. And Grace Kelly plays his girlfriend. And so he thinks he sees somebody murder his wife. It's Raymond Burr from Perry Mason. And so it's him kind of like trying to figure it out. But at one point, it's like he's sitting in the window, and it's like he falls asleep, wakes up, falls asleep, and wakes up, and it's like raining at night. And at one point, he's eating like the sandwich that his nurse, Thelma Ritter, left him. So my mom and I, at that point, we like went down into the kitchen, and we made like peanut butter sandwiches, and we ate like apples with salt, and had like glasses of milk, I think, or something like that. And I always remember that. My mom loved apples with salt, but I always remember like, I've never liked peanut butter and jelly. I mean, I'll eat it. Like, I do think it's good, kind of. Did I just say I never liked it? I like it, it's fine, but I much prefer a peanut butter, just a plain peanut butter sandwich, especially like on toasted whole wheat bread. Or what I really love is peanut butter and honey. But anyway, I think we just made peanut butter sandwiches. We brought them back up. kind of acting like we were in the movie a little bit. I used to love to do that. Like when I would go to my dad's house, we would rent, like if he picked me up on a Friday, we would go to the video store. That was like the first thing we did. And he would let me rent whatever movies I wanted to. I mean, if we rented like 10 movies, we rented 10 movies because we watched a lot of movies, especially on weekends where my dad was on call, because we just kind of had to wait around a lot in case he got called to go to the hospital, and then we, you know, had to go to the hospital. So it wasn't like we could go out of town or go do anything. And so I would rent over and over again, like a lot of the same movies, like not all 10, but sometimes I would rent like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. And every time that I would rent, we would go to the video store, and then we would go to like the grocery store. Whenever I rented Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, I always wanted to get candy to eat, like while I was watching the movie. Remember, like, they came out with Gobstoppers and stuff, which are nothing like Gobstoppers in the movie, but I always would get those. And it's like a really pretty rain. You guys want to see the sidewalk? It's a bit raining right here. I just love kind of sitting and looking at the rain. I have so many memories attached to different movies, especially like growing up. Is that correct? Is that correct? But I have so many like memories. Like I remember watching Alien with my mom and her friend. Her friend lived across the street from us, and her daughter came over, and the three of us, I think maybe she was, like her friend was out of town for a night or something, and her daughter stayed with us. Her daughter was like one of my good friends in the neighborhood. She was like 3 years older than me. And I remember we all like sat and watched Alien, the original one with Sigourney Weaver. And I remember, for some reason, I don't know why I remember this, but we were eating spaghetti, and we made all of these like jokes, like about the spaghetti and the alien and all that kind of stuff. That was really a scary movie when that came out. And I remember that. The way that my dad would get me out of the pool when I was a little kid, which I think is truly to this day why I'm afraid of sharks, is like if I was, because I would swim and swim and swim like right up until the time the pool closed. And like when he was living in his apartment, he'd be like, okay, we gotta go. And it'd be like 10 o'clock, and it'd be like in October, 10 o'clock, you know, and I'd be like, no, Dad. Freezing, right? And I'd be like, just a little bit more. And he'd be like, no. He'd be like, Pete, we gotta go. The pool's closed. We gotta go. And I'd be like, yeah. And he'd be like, no, 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 no. And I'd be out of that pool in 2 seconds flat. The weird thing about the Jaws movies is that as terrified of sharks as I am, which I am, like, I follow somebody on Instagram, and they went to Hawaii, and they were like swimming with sharks in a cage. Like that was something that they chose to actually do. Like it wasn't like punishment, like they wanted to do that. And I was like, you are crazy. Like there is no amount of money on this earth that, it's starting to come up here. I'm hoping that I don't have to stop this. I'm like, it's just getting wet. I'm like, there is no amount of money on earth that would make me swim in a cage. I don't, honestly, I think I would have a heart attack before I did it. I really, really do. But the weird thing about it is, as terrified of sharks as I am, I also have like this weird fascination with sharks. Like, I watch all the movies about sharks. I like to read books. Like Peter Benchley books are some of my favorite books to read. I've also read like other books about sharks and stuff. I mean, Peter Benchley hasn't put out that many books, but he's the one that wrote Jaws. And if you've never read Jaws, the book, I actually read it for Booktubeathon, which doesn't exist anymore, but it was this readathon they would do in the summer. So one year when I did it, I think it might have been my first year actually, every book that I read, because one of the challenges was read a book that has been adapted into a movie. So every book that I read had been adapted into a movie. I wanted every book so I could watch every, anyway. I read like A Single Man by Christopher Isherwood, which is such a great book. The movie, I think, is directed by Tom Ford, and it's got Julianne Moore in it. It's such a devastatingly sad movie, but it's so fantastic. And I read... Oh... What's the one that's kind of like The Fault in Our Stars, but it's like, I did not like the book at all. And the movie was even worse. Something about the girl and something. I can't remember. The cover of it is yellow. The only reason I know that is because it was like, the challenge was to read a book with yellow on the cover. You guys, it is like really coming down, look. The challenge was read a book with yellow on the cover. But I read Jaws for Booktubeathon that year, and I think it was that year that I read it. I had never read the book Jaws before. I'd seen the movie 9 million times. I mean, really, I have. And the book is so completely different than the movie. I mean, it is... I should put my fern down there because my fern needs to be watered. I am actually going to do that. Hold on. There. Now my fern can get some rain. But I had seen the movie Jaws like 9 million times, right? But I had never... read the book, and the book is so completely different than the movie. There is so much that happens in the book, but let me tell you what is so interesting about... I got little fern pieces all over the place. Let me tell you what is so interesting about that book is that, like, it opens with this scene. I think it doesn't say like the shark. It says something like the giant fish or something is moving through the water. It is so scary to read. Like, he masterfully creates terror in that book. Like, that book is, like, terrifying to read. Another book that's interesting, I don't know that I made it. I think I did read it all the way through, but I read it because, A, I loved the movie when I was in high school, and B, because I think my mom told me she read it, like, I always thought she said she read it like when she was pregnant with me, but she must have said she read it with me when I was like 1 year old, and it was like the hottest summer ever in Chicago, because I think I looked and the book came out after I was born, and that was Rosemary's Baby by Ira Levin. Is that how you pronounce his name? Levin. And my mom would always tell me, like, I think it was the summer that I was 1, because they were living in Evanston. And my mom was not working at Northwestern Library because she had me, and my dad would be gone for like 48 hours because he was doing his medical residency. And it was like super, super hot in Chicago that year in the summer. And like the Pope was coming to visit. Like, I can remember my mom talking about how the Pope was like a big deal. My mom, at the time that the Pope, we're not Catholic, at the time the Pope was coming to visit, my mom was reading Rosemary's Baby, and so like she always like coincided those two events together. And I can remember she would say, like, it may have been the summer that I was born, but I don't think it was. I think, and she said like how scary that book like was for her to read, and that movie was to see later. And then when I ended up watching that movie later, it was terrifying. Really a good movie. Have you guys ever seen Rosemary's Baby? Another movie I love with Mia Farrow is Alice. I haven't watched that movie in a long time, but it's really a well done movie. About somebody kind of like being misguided and lost and trying to figure out their life. I feel like movies have had such a big part of, that played such a big part of my life. Like, so my eulogy that I read at my mom's funeral, I wrote it, but then I kind of ad-libbed part of it, but it was all about movies. And it was about, my dog Skip was a big part of it. And, because he was an only child in that movie. And my mom and I both loved that movie. and I'd had a Jack Russell Terrier, and also The Way We Were, because I can remember like falling asleep when I was a kid on the end of my mom's bed when she would watch The Way We Were, and she always said that like that movie reminded her of she and my dad. And I can remember waking up at the end when Robert Redford would be like, "See ya, Katie," and she would say, "See ya, Hubble." And that was how I ended my mom's eulogy. It's weird, I don't often cry about my mom being gone anymore, you know, like, she's been gone so long, but, isn't it funny the things that trigger memories? You know, like movies. Why movies? Like the movie Out of Africa. Like my mom loved that movie, and I loved that movie, and I would watch it over and over and over again in my first apartment, drinking and when I got sober. I loved the movie Legal Eagles with Daryl Hannah, Robert Redford, and Deborah Winger. Did you guys ever see that movie? And my mom knew I loved it, and like every Christmas, she would buy it for me. Like over and over and over again. Like I think she forgot that she bought it for me, because I have like, in the basement, I have like 4 copies of Legal Eagles. So if you want one, I've got one for you. I don't think it's worth anything. But we always were just like a movie family. And like there was never any like rhyme or reason to it, like the movies. Like some of my mom's favorite movies I think would surprise people. Like my mom loved Fight Club. Like, well, she loved Brad Pitt, but she loved Fight Club. And we would have these long, intense conversations about it, because she would say Fight Club has nothing to do with violence or fighting. It's about this inner turmoil with yourself and fighting within yourself. That's why, you know, the character that is, he thinks that Brad Pitt's there all along, is really him. Like it's this internal fight that he's having with himself, and it's very similar to all of us. Like we have this internal fight with ourselves, and she would explain about how a lot of it was like about like Buddhism and things, and I had no clue. I was like completely lost, right? And then my mom, like she loved the movie Brokeback Mountain, and she would say that she thought it was like the greatest love story of all, you know? Not a gay love story, but the greatest love story of all. And I can never remember the guy that he passed away of an overdose, married to Michelle Williams, played the Joker. What's his name? That was in Brokeback Mountain. My mom loved him. She loved him so much. I'm more of a Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I think he is so fine. But, so fine. But, that movie was just like so tragic and sad. That was another book that I read that year for Booktubeathon, because Annie Proulx wrote the book, Brokeback. Well, it was a novella. And it was very different than the movie too. I was kind of surprised by it. Another movie that my mom and I both loved, interestingly enough, we both loved it, was Mulholland Drive. Well, we both love David Lynch movies, but I don't know what it was about that specific movie, because like my favorite David Lynch movie is Wild at Heart, which I haven't seen in years. Like I would love to see that. I need to buy that and watch it again. I haven't seen that movie in years. God, my friend and I, oh my God, one of my good friends, Jenny, she's like one of my best friends my senior year in high school and in college. We used to watch that movie over and over and over again. I switched and started smoking Cools just because of that movie, because there's a scene in it when Nicolas Cage, they're driving to New Orleans, and he goes, "That sure don't smell like a Cool," and she goes, "It ain't. One of the lessons of life." I don't know why, and Diane Lane, her mother, plays in the movie, and it's just, that is such a fantastic movie. If you've never, it's so weird. It's totally weird. David Lynch's movies, like, I was obsessed. Like, college, like graduating from high school and then going into college, I was literally obsessed with David Lynch. Like, Twin Peaks, Obsessed. Watched all of Twin Peaks. Just recently, whenever it came out with like the reboot and they did like the whole other season or two on Showtime, watched that. And then I watched all of the David Lynch movies back in the day, like Blue Velvet and Blue Velvet, Wild at Heart. I think he did The Elephant Man and maybe Dune, the original. I didn't watch those, but all of his like weirdo ones I watched. Yeah, my friend Jenny, she and I were obsessed with Twin Peaks. Obsessed with Laura Palmer. We would go to like the bookstore. Remember they would have like the Hidden Diaries of Laura Palmer, like what happened backwards. Or we would like try to figure out like what, like in the show, like the guy that would like talk backwards. We would try to like figure out what he was saying. And I mean, we really like were into that show. Like really into that show. I don't know why I just have this memory, but going into high school, my mom, one of her good friends that was also her sorority sister, she and her daughter and my mom and I, we went to Beaver Island, Michigan, which was where one of my mom's best friends, her best friend from high school, Diane, lived. And Diane ended up dying 3 years before my mom did of cancer. But I remember I had bought this book and tape on the way, and it was called Is Elvis Alive? I've told this on here before. And my mom's friend's daughter, she was probably like, if I was a sophomore at the time, going into being a sophomore, she was probably going into like 8th grade. And I remember we listened to this whole thing, like, you remember back in the day when like Walkmans had the 2 plugs? She listened on one headset, like, and I listened on the other of like, you know, headphones. And we were like obsessed. Like every gas station we stopped at along the way, we were like taking notes and stuff. I can remember like my mom and her friend like in the car, because my mom's friend drove the whole time. I'll never forget this either. Like her mom's friend drove a, what do you call it? A Ford Bronco. And it was the kind where you crank the windows up. And it was like 2 doors, so like you had to like put the seat down, you know? And it was like full air conditioning, cranked. And back in the day, do you remember the ashtrays that used to pull out and the lighters that you would push in? My mom and her friend, literally, I'll never forget my mom's friend, she used to chain smoke. I think like 10 or 15 years ago, well, it would have been before my mom got sick, so it would have had to been 15 or 20 years ago. She quit like cold turkey, but before that, she smoked like 2 to 3 packs of, I'll never forget this, Benson & Hedges ultralight menthols. She smoked, because I used to steal one from her, and then when I started smoking, I thought the pack was so cool. So when I was like in 10th grade, I would smoke Benson & Hedges ultralight menthol, 100s, 100s they were. But anyway, I remember that trip. With the windows rolled up, they smoked like one cigarette after another. I mean, gag-a-maggot, I thought I was going to lose my mind. And we're like down there like trying to roll down our windows and stuff like that. But anyway, we were like taking notes, and I can remember they would laugh so hard because we were having like these real serious talks about like, do you think we saw Elvis at that gas station? Like, I mean, we were like so into it, we really were. And like they would like, I can remember my mom's friend like turning around being like, what are you guys doing back there? What are you taking notes about? Don't worry about it. We're looking at, we're figuring stuff out. And they were laughing at us. They thought it was so cute. That was a really fun trip. I can remember not wanting to go on that trip at all. You know, it's always interesting to me, like the things in my life that I haven't wanted to do, or the things in my life that I've been the most nervous about doing, about the outcome, have been the things in my life that have ended up being the most meaningful to me. Like, for example, a couple years ago when I judged the pageant, well, I mean, I've judged several pageants, but when I judged the pageant a couple years ago, I was so nervous about meeting those people and them not liking me or not knowing me, and that ended up becoming like one of the best experiences of my life, hands down, one of the best experiences of my life. And to the point of where I was like crying when I left, because I was like, we got so close over that week, you know. And that trip to Michigan was like that as well. I think one of the hardest things in life is that when you're in the moment of those experiences, you don't know that those are some of the greatest experiences that you're ever going to have. You don't know that those are some of the greatest moments of your life or memories that you're going to look back on fondly, you know? You don't know that that's going to be a memory that 20 years, well, hell, 30 some years later that you're going to look back with and go, God, I miss that, you know? Or I miss that peanut butter sandwich that I had with my mom. In those moments, you don't know to appreciate it. And I guess I think the lesson from all of that is to learn to appreciate every moment in your life, you know, to learn to appreciate all of the moments that we're given so that it's not just about looking back. You know, I don't want to constantly live looking in the rearview mirror. I don't want to constantly, you know, live talking about this. I like it. I like telling memories and I like telling stories. It's fun for me, you know. But I don't, it's like, you know, my friend Tanya said to me a couple years ago, it's like, you know, at one point there was 10 of us on the patio every night, you know, after meetings. And then it was 5, and then it was 3, and then it was she and I playing headbands on the back porch, you know. And I'll never forget, she looked at me and she said, and we would just sit out there and we would just, you know, drink fountain pops and tell old stories about people. And she looked at me one day and she said, I'm tired of, you know, like, just living in the past. She's like, I want to make new memories. And so that's what we started doing, you know, and I think you have to do that, is you have to start making new memories. I think that's fine to tell old stories, and like I said, I love doing it, and I'm never going to stop. I'm never going to stop telling old stories from the past and memories of my life and things like that. But at the same time, like, I don't want to constantly, you know, live in the past. I don't live in the sad memories so much anymore, though. I will say that. Like, as I get older, maybe it's picking and choosing the memories that I live in. But as I get older, I really choose to, like, remember the happier times and live in the happier moments. I don't know. There have been periods in my life where I've just like looked back on the past and been like, well, if this had been different, or if this hadn't happened, or if this, you know, whatever had worked out a different way, or if this had happened for me differently, what's the point in all that, you know? I mean, maybe to learn from those experiences, but to live in that, you can't live in what ifs, you know, you just can't. And I've never really gotten a lot out of what ifing my life away, except for feeling bad about my current condition of my life. And I don't want to do that, you know. I want to look at my life and be like, wow, you have a blessed life. Because I do. I feel very grateful today and very blessed today in my life. And that's not to say that things aren't going to happen or that things haven't happened, you know. That's to say that today, on Sunday, September 4th, sitting outside talking to you guys in the middle of a rainstorm, I feel calm, I feel peaceful, I feel serene, I feel happy. It's been really fun kind of telling some of these old memories tonight, talking about memories of movies and road trips and late night snacks with my mom, and I've enjoyed it, you know, and that's a blessing, and I want to be able to continue to enjoy that. I think it's so easy to focus sometimes on the negative, and I don't want to do that in my life, you know. But that's work. It takes a lot of work to do that, you know. Been a lot of times in my life where I've chosen the glass half empty instead of the glass half full. So, well, listen, I'm gonna get off here now, and Let me know what movies, let me know in the comment section below what movies bring back memories for you, whatever they are, you know. I've got so many. I could talk about movies for days. But anyway, thank you guys for sitting on the porch with me. This was fun tonight. And I hope that you guys are having a magically amazing Sunday. And I hope you're getting relaxed, rejuvenated, refreshed, and renewed for the week ahead. Wherever you are, whenever you are, however, whoever you are. And remember these 3 very important things. Oh, also, if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. And remember these 3 very important things. 1, you can start your day over whenever you want. 2, practice random acts of kindness, but don't tell anyone. And 3, most important, make sure to reach out to somebody and let them know how much they mean to you, because it really could change somebody's day and turn their day around. And also, remember to be kind to one another, love one another a little bit more, and most importantly, be kinder and love yourself a little bit more. And I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love you. And for those that need to hear it, and those that want to hear it, and those that just happen to stick around, and I have been doing this a lot lately, so probably in the next few videos I won't. One more I love. Ooh, that was off note, wasn't it? One more I love you. I love you guys. That was so cheesy. One more I love you. One more I love you, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye. Love you. Happy birthday, Lena.